acting in partnership with the community to provide professional, high-quality service. And this they do. They have several programs that I was interested in sharing because I don't know that it's all that publicized. We have something called a Premise Alert program, which supports individuals living with disabilities or special needs. We also have they have a service where they will come on site, and it's designed to identify security weaknesses and make recommendations for strengthening security that will deter burglary. We all know about the installation of the child car seats, house watches, which is kind of a joke with me because, we've left our door unlocked a couple of times, and so I catch it teasing. Anyway, but house watches, which are very important, and just plain caring patrolling of our neighborhoods. And I know that when they drive through Thorngate, for instance, I've been told that if there are residents out walking, they will wave at our officers. And the officers are very appreciative of that. I want to say tonight, thank you to our chief for his continued excellence in building and maintaining a force of professional, respectful, caring, strong, and dependable officers. I want to say thank you to our officers who make coming home to our unique little corner of the world a relief, knowing that we are safe. So thank you. Thank you, Chief. And I wish you would pass this along to all of our officers because they are so much appreciated. Moving on, first order of business is approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion of approval of the minutes of the meeting of July 15th? Is there a second, please? Thank you. Are there any comments or questions? Edits? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. First is Finance Director's report. So before we get to the Finance Director's report, may I have a motion for approval of the bills, please?
So moved.
Is there a second, please?
Second.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Clayton?
No.
Trustee Jamerson?
Aye.
Trustee Rath?
Aye.
Trustee Smith?
Aye.
Trustee Trevino? Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you. Director Vasquez, your report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. One item to note, at our last board meeting, I had talked about the sales tax data exceeding expectations. I did request the data at the more granular level, and I've received it, but I still need some time to go over the numbers. So once I have that, I'll let the board know if it's the case of a few strong performers or if it's kind of across the board. The other item I have is, you may have noticed that there was a check for property tax reproration. This was essentially for the closing at Federal Life. There was a credit that the seller gave us in anticipation of the tax bill that would be payable in 2025. The tax bill was actually a little bit lower than that. So per the agreement, we owed some money to make up for the difference there in that credit. And then on that same subject, we are, us along with the fire district, are responsible for those property taxes to be paid in 2025, which we've done. So that will be part of the overall reimbursement that we request from the fire district as we do our accounting of all the work for the demolition and so on.
Are there any questions for our Finance Director? Trustee Jamerson, please.
Sorry. The tax is payable in 2026 for 2025. Are we going to get some kind of since there's no building there anymore, are the taxes going to, or what do we need to protest those taxes? Do they automatically?
We filed for tax exemption. So.
Oh, that's even better. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Are there any other questions for our director? Okay, thank you very much. Moving on, Treasurer's report. Treasurer isn't with us tonight. Director of Community Services report. Director Witt, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry, it's relatively late this time. We have been spending a lot of time in support of the Plan Commission, particularly with the Orphans of the Storm project, which will be reconvening their hearing this Thursday night, and also for the ZBA for their review on commercial signage. Other things that are happening, we're still waiting on IDOT to schedule the pre-con for the Saunders Road STP project. And with regard to the water main replacement project, we have been trying to get into contact with the proposal bidder, which will get presented later tonight. We're trying to find a way where we can condense that project from several weeks down to several days. So we're trying to have conversations with them. We have some ideas on how we can make that less of an impact for the neighborhood. We just haven't been able to solidify anything yet. And then with regard to administrative adjudication, I know I haven't reported on that in a while. We currently have 3 cases, one related to installation of grinder pumps without a permit. Another one, we continue to have ongoing issues with a house that's been under construction since well before my time here. They're up against several citations, including one which is very much a life safety issue, and their refusal to adequately provide protection around an in-ground pool, of which we have received neighborhood complaints thereof. And the last one will be for a property that's hit the trifecta, doing work in the floodway, the floodplain, and the wetlands. So each of those 3 will be up on August 19th in case anyone wants to drop in and listen.
Are there any questions for our director? Okay, seeing none. Chief, do you have a report this evening?
Yeah, I'm not used to going this
Police
soon.
Chief, do you have a report this evening?
I do. The police activity year to date is in your board packets. Additionally, I want to report on the update on the home invasion that we investigated on July 13th that I was not at the last board meeting, but I know the mayor reported on that for me. We're still actively working the investigation, and on July 30th, our detective went before the grand jury with further evidence and investigative testimony, and the grand jury found probable cause to formally indict all 3 suspects on several more charges. The 3 suspects we've arrested so far. And the charges they were all being charged with are home invasion, armed with a firearm, which is a Class X felony, a home invasion causing injury, Class X felony, armed robbery, armed with a firearm, Class X felony, residential burglary, which is a Class 1 felony, aggravated discharge of a firearm, which is a Class 1 felony, and aggravated unlawful restraint, which is a Class 3 felony. Additionally, one of the suspects, Joshua Mitchell, the one who was wounded, he was also charged with possession of a firearm by a repeat offender, which is a Class X felony, and unlawful possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, which is a Class 2 felony, and aggravated unlawful restraint. No, actually, I'm sorry. That's no, that was the others were all charged with that also. Anyway, so that's the update. I know that there was some information that was reported on some news outlets that we didn't report on here because what happened was when the one of the suspects had their first appearance in court, the which the press is present at. The state's attorney pretty much laid out everything that we had, or much of what we had, and that became part of the press. So we are currently investigating a fourth suspect, I'm sorry, who wasn't present but was involved, and we hope to have some more information on that soon. And that's all I have.
Are there any questions for our chief? Thank you again. Consultants report. Village attorney, please.
On the subject of the Quick Trip annexation, we've been looking at ways to get water to the site. which is over on Milwaukee Avenue. One approach is to go from Thornton's down Milwaukee. One approach is to go from Thorn Meadow under the river. Both of those are roughly estimated in the $2 million range, so it's quite a lot of money. But Quick Trip asked us if we would check with Buffalo Grove, and we did reach out to Lake County. It turns out that just very recently, a new Lake Michigan connection was made from Buffalo Grove to Lake County, through which they supply the Picara subdivision. So this is not trying to supply the whole village. This would be trying to get the permission to supply just a couple of businesses. We're going to be having a meeting with Lake County Public Works to see how we might present our case for that. So that's why I don't have a term sheet for you, because we have discovered that there's a hiccup there and we're trying to solve that. To get the sewer to the site, I think they also will have to go underneath Milwaukee, from what Lake County told me, and go 300-400 feet or something like that to get over to where they would connect. So there's some cost items, but Quick Trip has been very cooperative and is still expressing a lot of enthusiasm about annexing to the village. So we're working with them on that. At the next meeting, we didn't put it up for discussion tonight because Trustee Eastman isn't here. But we did meet with the proposed developer of the Wolters Kluwer site. They did revise their site plan, and staff and our planning consultant, Tesca, went through their proposal and just sort of said, okay, it's an improvement. Of course, there's a lot that still needs to be done, but essentially it's out of the woodland areas. It's respecting the wetlands. We don't have a lot of understanding of the architecture involved and other things, but it's a proposal. It's a meaningful proposal for development of the site. So then at the end of several hours of discussion, the developer said, okay, here's my issue. We cannot afford to put on-site units that are affordable in this project because the delta between affordable units in a for sale project and the cost, the market value that they intend to sell the units for is so great that if you multiply it out by 8 or 9 units, it's just simply too much. And they won't go forward with the proposal. They would like to have an opportunity to hear from the board at the next meeting about whether the board is willing to let them know basically in advance of spending all the money they would need to spend to continue with the proposal, to accept a fee in lieu. Now, I can tell you, and I know this is, since Trustee Eastman wasn't here, he'd asked it to be put over. I wanted to give the board an idea about this so that when we get back to the next board meeting, you have some understanding of why they're asking this question. The subject has been coming up in communities around us. Northbrook recently imposed an on-site requirement for a project, but another project right now, which they're still negotiating. It's actually Lexington Homes, and it's eight units, and I think so it's a perennial issue because basically, if the difference between an affordable unit and a for sale unit grows to be $500,000-$600,000, you start multiplying that out, it affects the economics of the deal. And we knew this when we designed the ordinance, and we said that the board would retain the right to decide what to do. And I think this board may find that it's too early to say. It doesn't want to make that commitment, ahead of the process going further. That's certainly something the board could do. We didn't know what to do at staff level except, pass on the requests so that the board would have the ability to weigh the advantages and not. So the idea was to basically introduce the elements of the project as much as they are today to see whether it's interesting enough as a project that you would even want to go further with the discussion about this particular aspect, or simply tell the developer, no, keep going through the process. I mean, this is really a board discussion. We don't know what to do with it at staff level.
Yeah, the developer has asked for a response. And as we normally do, a courtesy to trustees who are not going to be here, we would ask, is there something that you wish to be part of the discussion and have it put over? And because we had a full board when we originally discussed fee in lieu, and trustee Eastman would like to be part of that discussion, we will put that over until our August 19th meeting. We have alerted the developer that they will not be getting an answer from us in the short term here, and that our next meeting, we would take up this issue again. So I think council is giving you a heads up so that it is not a surprise, or that you can be thinking about it in the meantime, because we did have a full discussion on this when we were talking about the affordable housing component. And there are economics attached to it that this developer doesn't feel they can go forward unless. So bear all those things in mind as we, trustee Jamerson, please.
I don't want to get into a big discussion because trustee Eastman's not here.
Right.
But I just have two questions. Are they for sale units?
Yes.
And are they individual, or are they
Attached
talking
duplex,
about attached?
duplex units.
Oh, duplexes. Okay, thank you.
And if you have any questions in the interim, please, if you'd like to call counsel, and I'm sure he'd be happy to discuss it with you, or you can, come in and staff will show you what we have to. So again, just to alert you and let you know that issue has come up. And there were no promises made.
No promises.
Is
all I
there
have.
anything else? And I apologize, didn't mean to cut you off. Are there any other questions for council? Okay, moving forward, Plan Commission report. Our Plan Commissioner wasn't able to be with us tonight, but I think Chair Brightcoff was simply going to talk about the fact that this Plan Commission meeting coming up is another review of the Orphans of the Storm, and moving on with that conversation. Director Witt, did you have anything to add to that, please?
Not really. It's just a continuation of the previous meeting.
Okay. Zoning Board of Appeals, did you meet?
We did.
Did you?
Will.
Okay.
Yes.
Chair
Make sure I know how
Gradner.
to turn this thing on, folks.
There's a little,
Is
should
it
just,
on? Okay. Yes, we met and we will be meeting next week. We will continue discussion of commercial signage and trying to figure out some way to bring a cohesive list of things to enforce and signage in commercial buildings, which pretty much right now is Colonial Court and shops, which are very different in their requirements. And even to look at shops, which is fairly specific. And I think there are things that need to be added to the special use. I don't know if we can do that, but it needs to be enlarged. And then somehow we need to take that and put it on Colonial Courts so that when it comes to enforcement, whoever's going out to enforce will have a logical and rational list of things to look at. So yes, we will be meeting again, and I think we're getting closer. I hope we're getting closer, but we're working hard on it.
are there any questions for our chair? Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Fire District Report, Chief Kruger.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Yeah. Very much too excited to report. The only time acceptance we should report.
For the record, sir.
For the record, sure. We just had two of our lieutenants who are on the Illinois Task Force for Urban Search and Rescue, Illinois team. It's different than a local team. It's part of the federal government, FEMA. And they went to Texas for a 16-day deployment. And they were there for 2 weeks, 2 days. And work 24 hours, rest 12, and then work another 24. So they came back, and
Wow.
so it was pretty devastating. So it was pretty cool that they were able to go out there, but we do what we can. So that's all I have. Nothing too
Glad they were
exciting.
able to help, and thank you.
Yeah, it was good.
Thank you.
Good experience for them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any questions for our chief? No, thank you. You're good. You're good. Thank you. Information items and comments from the president. I have reported to you about the South Lake Mosquito Abatement District for a while. There was a finance committee meeting last week. One of the topics on that agenda was the dissolution of the district. That seems to be going forward with great haste. Trustee Trevino, Randy Merrill, Sarah Merritt, and I attended that meeting, and it was frustrating. It was frustrating. There is another meeting this Thursday of the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee will now be taking up a proposed ordinance to dissolve the district. And it's coming in the form of an audit, and there are some technicalities that I don't quite get my hands on, get my mind around. If it goes forward from this meeting this Thursday, it goes to the Lake County Board on the 12th, which is the following Tuesday. This is moving with great haste. If it is approved by the board, there is something called a backdoor referendum to put this issue on the ballot so that residents can decide, as opposed to the county board deciding whether this gets dissolved or not. Points that were tried to be made is that the district is focused on serious health issues, which are vector diseases, West Nile virus and so forth, with an array of proactive as well as reactive services. The cost to residents is de minimis. My tax bill shows $24.86 for a year. And that provides a stable revenue stream to the district, which we pointed out. It requires no money from the county. And there has been a reserve developed. The other independent, I've done some research since, other independent municipalities, and the argument is that municipalities know their residents best and can handle their own mosquito control. Doing a little research, it is true that many of these independent municipalities also use Clark Environmental Services, as does the South Lake Mosquito District. The services that these municipalities use are not the same as what what the district provides to us. There are not as many inspections. There's not as much larvicide. There is no, for example, there was supposed to be a flyover, I think today, to find pools of stagnant water, including shops of Riverwoods, that need to be specially treated. There are just another litany of, the services are not aligned. We have more services than these others. We have more traps, both focused on density, which it gets to the nuisance issue, and other traps that collect mosquitoes for the purpose of West Nile virus testing. So we have more traps, we have more service, we have more people checking the traps, we have more larvicides, we have more flyovers, we have more, we rarely spray unless the traps reach a certain level. So we have only had one spray this year, I think. So there's just a lot more attention to it. The issue with municipalities who do not have the same services, a lot of them, it's a budget constraint. Clark responds to that. They will provide good services, but if a municipality says, we can only afford X, well, then that's what they get. And sometimes what that can do is you'll find that individual property owners will take it into their own hands and use services that may or may not protect the environment, either with the kinds of chemicals that they use, the timing of the use of those chemicals, and so on. So it appears that the dissolution proponents, they're more interested in minimizing the number of government agencies than in the health issue. So it's kind of a difficult decision here. We work with Lake County in a number of ways. We have intergovernmental agreements for water and sewer services. We work with them on roads and all that. So Lake County has been a good partner to us. This is an unfortunate issue that I think is not to the benefit of or supportive of the residents of Riverwoods. There have been a number of emails back and forth between the mayors, the village managers, about this issue. Bannockburn is solidly supports the South Lake Mosquito Abatement District. I have said that Riverwoods supports the South Lake Mosquito Abatement District, and then politics comes in. So it's hard to know exactly where we are going to end up here. Working with a Plan B, I've already talked to Clark about what this all means, and that's where I have come to find out that depending on how much we are willing to spend, that's the service that you get. So we would not, it's likely that duplicating the services that we currently get would be 50 or more $1,000 a year for our small area. I don't know the actual number, but I can tell you that they will do whatever, they will do services within a budgeted amount. Now, that might mean that, you can forget about nuisance mosquito spraying, only focusing on adult mosquito control rather than larvicide, maybe not as many trips to the, trips around to check on stagnant water, all those kinds of things. So, well, if you multiply out $1,200 times $24, $25, you're in the $30,000 range. So at bare minimum, that, we might not, well, we likely will not get the same kind of service level that we do now. Forget about the flyover. So these are difficult things to balance. We can only voice our concern about the dissolution because it is a health issue. Vector-borne disease is a big, is a big deal. There are diseases coming that we would like to get a head start on, and prevention is part of that. So we'll see what they do. I intend to appear at both the upcoming Thursday morning meeting and the following Tuesday. We need to stay informed about what is going on and then get serious about the next steps. The South Lake Mosquito Abatement Board itself meets on Monday. So we've got a Thursday Finance Committee meeting, a district board meeting on Monday night, and on Tuesday morning, the Lake County Board. So there's a lot of activity in a very short period of time. The referendum is, a very distinct possibility. And that will be where we really test the will of the public in wanting to go forward. And I view that as a very strong likelihood.
I have a question.
Of course, Trustee James.
Of course I do.
No. I mean, yes.
Of course I have a question.
Whatever. Go ahead. Yeah.
You know me. So I have two questions, actually. Are there other mosquito abatement districts in Lake County? And are they dissolving all of them?
No, this is the last one.
Well, this is the last one.
This is the last
Okay.
one.
Then my second question is, if the current amount of taxes that the district is collecting
Mhm.
is sufficient to provide the level of service that we're getting.
Yes.
Plus, it sounds like a little bit of reserves.
Mhm.
If the same municipalities, and I'm not,
No, it's
if
a
this-
discussion topic. Go ahead.
if the same municipalities got together and created an intergovernmental agreement, they would have to raise their taxes by that much theoretically to pay the same amount of money, but theoretically we would get the same amount of service. It's more difficult, and I'm
Yeah.
not taking anything away from what you're doing, because I think what you're doing is fantastic and we should go down that route as far as we can.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for
But
saying.
but I guess worst case, if everybody, because Highland Park, Deerfield, Bannockburn, Riverwoods, is that?
What did you say? Highwood, Highland
Oh,
Park,
okay. Highland.
Deerfield, Bannockburn, Riverwoods.
Okay.
And there's an unincorporated area that's also included in
Well, we
there
won't
that they're
stray then.
just, good luck with the county, buddy.
Yeah. Okay.
know?
Well, I mean, if worst came to worst, we probably could figure out a way to make it work, but it would be much better if it would stay the way it is. And it's not costing the county any money,
No,
right? I mean,
No,
that's,
no, it is not. It's moving it from one bucket into another,
yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
which is really what you're talking about. And yes, the Plan B intergovernmental agreement, how might that work? And I'll share with you, that has been discussed. It becomes a question of who's going to administer that intergovernmental agreement. Where's that going to sit? And, our neighbors are concerned too, but two of our neighbors are pretty big and have public works departments. However, Lincolnshire also has a public works department and they contract with Clark. So, again, they aren't getting the same level of service. So there's another Plan B out there, and I don't know how this would work. It's some kind of intergovernmental agreement with the North Shore Mosquito Abatement District. And I don't know how that would work at all, because we're not contiguous to them. We can't be annexed, and they're in Cook County. So it gets a little bit complicated, but it's Plan B. You got to start thinking of what might happen if this moves forward as it is, and if the referendum fails. Yeah, we've seen that before, right? So, we've got to think ahead a little bit, and where that would fit in our budget, and how do we control it? Because mosquitoes aren't the same from year to year. You can have a slim year. Drought, it's not wetlands, it's drought goes with West Nile virus. So it's using the same watering hole and all that kind of stuff with animals. So it's not, yeah. So it's complicated, but I want to keep you abreast. I've tried to forward things to you. The latest thing that I did, which I'm sure I'm not making friends everywhere with this, but I sent along the decennial report that Trustee Trevino helped them put together, and sent the decennial report and the most recent monthly report that Clark. I sent that to the Finance Committee, as well as all the other municipalities. It's just, here's the information. Can you please think about what's happening here? So that's that, and you will hear from me. I'll try to blind copy you if there's something else happening, but very definitely on the 11th, or I'm sorry, the 12th, if that goes through and there's a referendum, I think we have to figure out a way to address this in terms of getting signatures for a petition and what the next steps are. So I'll certainly keep you all informed on that. Two other things shortly. Stormwater Management Committee met, and would you like to talk about that later? Oh, okay. I was just going to say, we're going to have Gaywalt review some of the data to just make sure that the problem areas that they identified are also problem areas using the appropriate models and data sets. So we need to refresh that a bit. And Sustainability, we had a discussion on, and I'm sorry, I'm probably taking your thunder. Do you want to? Okay. We had a good discussion on hiring a consultant on how to bring together the sustainability plan, the comprehensive plan, and a strategic plan. So it was a good discussion, and I think I'm supposed to come up with some names of municipalities and plans by. Is our meeting on the 8th? So we're going to be out of here in 10 minutes so I can get this done. No, okay. Anyway, so that's the short of it. And that's, I have been absorbed with the South Lake Mosquito Abatement District. So everything else just kind of slid a little bit. So moving forward, visitors wishing to address the board on items not on the agenda. Randy.
Good evening, Randy Merrill, Riverwoods Preservation Council. On the mosquito abatement, I went to the meeting with the mayor. And if I recall, the ticks are also covered by the product that we use for mosquitoes. So, we have an abundance of ticks here, so that just elevates our health risks in our wooded area.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I wanted to report in that the garage sale was very well received this year. We probably had more people, more shoppers. I saw a lot of residents that came in and enjoyed it. Maybe it was because it rained. It was the only game in town, But so I actually had put together a couple ideas and shared with the mayor just briefly of other activities, because that community sense really is just very fulfilling. And talking about maybe, arts and crafts supplies and holiday decor, so theme specific sales, so we can really advertise in certain areas. And then maybe in January, clean out your closet and everybody can bring specifically clothes, shoes, accessories. It's again, reuse, recycle. So, and leading into that, don't forget on the 27th, Saturday the 27th, we do have a Reuse-O-Rama that we partner with Swalco. That would be, I think it's from 10 to 1. So we have a list of things that we're going to accept again. And actually the board, we met yesterday and we look at the list of items that we accept: clothing, shoes, books, purses, flags, styrofoam. Deerfield's also having the same event about a month earlier, and they collect very similar things. So we as a board, we're talking about how can we be a little different? What's to stop you from taking your bag of clothes over to Deerfield to get it out of the house a month earlier? So we are looking at a couple things, adding, even if it's just for convenience methods of grocery bags, your plastic bags from the grocery, we can accept them. And then a member of RPC just goes over to Woodman's and drops it off. It's not unlike the styrofoam that we collect. We actually bring it over to Highland Park. We just manually do that ourselves. And then we're actually looking at perhaps one of those metal scrappers. Could we get those guys? They come around in their trucks. And then garbage day, if you have something on the side that's metal, they'll put it in their truck and they turn it into cash. Could we have one of those stationed in the driveway? So if people wanted to bring metal items that they don't normally know how to recycle, could be patio furniture. You look outside, you see what they have in the back. So it might be also a very interesting thing to offer that Swalco doesn't provide. So I'm going to let you know we're looking at those issues too.
Pretty quick. Yeah, Trustee Jamerson.
Of course. As far as the styrofoam and plastic bags, the orange bag thing is happening in Riverwoods. And you can put all those, the bags are small, granted, but you can put all that styrofoam, peanuts, all that stuff can go in the orange bag and it can go in your regular recycling bin, and they take it away and make benches out of it, I think.
Yeah, so, exactly. Very expensive benches. Actually, Janine and I were talking about, maybe there's Janine. I'm going to see if we can get samples of the Hefties and the orange bags, and then we can perhaps pass those out to people who drop off stuff.
Yeah, I do it every week. We fill it up with styrofoam containers from, takeout and all the stuff that you're not supposed to put in your regular recycling bin, that if you do, they throw it out. Yeah. Anyways, there's a whole list of things.
That's correct. So we'll probably have those samples if we can. We can hand them out.
That would be a great,
And then we want to put a little sheet together, we'll staple it right to that, of talking about, in between collection events like this, where can you go to bring your styrofoam? Where can you go for electronics? And we can list the staples and whatever those are, your hazardous waste, what days are those collected? And we thought we would hand those out with the hefty bags.
they do collect the electronics at the first of the
They do, as part of a contract with LRS.
contract.
How many people know that?
I know.
Okay, there you go. All right. So we'll have that on the sheet. So any other ideas, let us know.
Anyone else have any? Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Catherine, anything? Say hi to Russ. Thank you. Okay, moving on. New business. First item of new business, contract with Klepfer Construction for repair and replacement of a water main at Brayburn and Saunders Road, not to exceed $73,435. Director Witt, please.
Thank you, Mayor. So the water main and valve vault replacement project to replace the section of water main that was found to have the leak at Saunders Road in Brayburn was let out to bid to 7 different contractors. Unfortunately, only 2 bids were received. The other 5 contractors had some concern over the tight turnaround for time frame for construction, because we want to get the project done within the month of August so that we are not conflicting with builders' construction to do the STP project on the same street. We had anticipated that they would be starting by the end of August, beginning of September, but as I indicated, we're still waiting for IDOT to establish when the pre-construction meeting is so that we can get that scheduled. So nonetheless, we received 2 bids. The low bidder was Klepfer Construction. You may remember that they are the contractor that actually found the leak and made the repair to that water main. So in some sense, we believe that their bid was low because they had previous experience working in the area and understanding the constraints that they're under. So we are asking that the village board would approve a contract award of a contract with Klepfer Construction in a not to exceed amount of $73,435 for the replacement of the water main, the valve, and the associated vault.
Do I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion that we accept the bid from Klepfer Construction for not to exceed $73,435.
Is there a second, please?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Any questions? Comments? Trustee Smith, please.
Sorry. The only thing I noticed was in the contract or the attached proposal, it said a 5% late fee for a balance of payments not received within 30 days. I just wanted to make sure that legal counsel was looking at that and making sure that that met the requirements of the village.
We'll address it before we sign it. Should be in accordance with the Prompt Payment Act.
Yep.
Are there any other questions or comments? Roll call, please. Oops, sorry. Was there something? Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Jamerson,
Aye.
trustee Raff,
Aye.
trustee Smith,
Aye.
trustee Trevino,
Aye.
trustee Clayton.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Next is approval of the addition of a full-time position for a sworn officer in the police department. Chief Dano, please.
So currently, the police department is authorized to staff 9 full-time officers, including myself. So there's myself, the chief, a commander, a sergeant, and then 6 full-time patrol officers. Except for me, all the officers under me, the 8 officers under me, their primary duties are patrol. That includes the commander and the sergeant. 2 of those officers have secondary duties as detectives or investigators. So tonight I have 2 reasons for requesting that the board authorize a 10th full-time officer position. Number 1, providing stability during periods of understaffing due to attrition or leave. And number 2, allowing a current full-time patrol officer with secondary detective duties to be assigned to primary detective duties full-time to manage the increasing complexity of criminal investigations. So optimally, the department has at least 2 officers working 24/7. When we are fully staffed, 8 officers under the chief are assigned to 4 12-hour shifts, ensuring 2 officer coverage around the clock. Part-time officers supplement these shifts to cover paid time off, training, and other absences. While the department is fully staffed today, we have frequently operated with at least 1 vacancy in recent years due to officer departures or extended injury leave. These vacancies are filled with part-time officers or costly full-time officer overtime. The hiring and training process for a new officer can take many months to complete, and currently finding experienced officers is challenging because police agencies across the state are short-staffed. Traditionally, most departments were hiring young people out of college and sending them to the police academy for training. But now more and more departments are making lateral hires, which is the pool we have always used to hire our experienced officers. So we have a lot more competition when we are understaffed, and it's harder to fill the position. Adding the 10th full-time officer position would help us to ensure that we have at least 8 officers primarily assigned to patrol duties. And when fully staffed with 10 positions, we would have the flexibility to assign a current detective, a patrol officer whose secondary duties are investigations. We could assign that officer to full-time detective duties. The number and complexity of investigations requiring significant follow-up have increased in the years I've been here. The recent home invasion, for example, has pulled the detective out of patrol due to the hours required for follow-up and further investigation. The detective, if we added a 10th officer, this detective could be reassigned to primary patrol duties to cover any vacancies. The estimated financial impact for adding a 10th full-time officer is $141,000, $141,440,049 actually. This is based on the annual 2024 salary for an officer who would start at our step 4 based on experience, including benefits. The 2025 raise for officers is currently under negotiations. So I'm requesting the board authorize a 10th full-time position to enhance public safety and department efficiency.
Trustee Raff.
Chief Dano, you list the costs associated with this, but wouldn't there also be potential savings on overtime?
There would be. I did not factor those in. I just wanted to give you an idea, but what an extra position would cost. But yes, it should help cut down the overtime needed when we are short-staffed. So that would offset it some.
Questions, discussion? Motion to approve new position.
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the position.
Is there a second? More discussion? Did you second, Trustee Clayton? Okay, thank you. Is there any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Raff,
Aye.
Trustee Smith,
Aye.
Trustee Trevino,
Aye.
Trustee Clayton,
Aye.
Trustee Jamerson.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. There being no old business, we'll move on to committee reports. Finance Committee, Trustee Clayton, please.
We're working on a date to meet possibly next week. And again, the current agenda includes looking at our banking relationships and also the role of the treasurer. That's it.
Thank you. Are there any questions for our trustee? Trustee Eastman is not with us this evening. Building and Infrastructure, Trustee Jamerson, please.
The building report's in the packet, and just an interesting tidbit. We're a little bit behind last year in construction value. by maybe 10%, but we are almost 100% increase in permit fees. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that last year we did tons of re-roofs, which don't have as large of a fee as the same amount of remodeling construction or a new home. So that's a good thing. So, and I know that the building department is still very busy. Our new inspector is doing a fantastic job. So thank you to the building department and Director Witt.
Thank you, Trustee Jamerson. Are there any questions for our trustee? Okay, seeing none. Land use, Trustee Raff, please.
As mentioned in the earlier committee of the whole meeting, begun to meet with staff in regards to the future of the appearance of Deerfield Road once the reconstruction is completed. What's it going to be like? How do we make it attractive? Or how do the residents help make it attractive for all of us? What will the village have to offer in terms and require in terms of development? And this is, as I said, at the very, very beginning stages. We'll bring something to the board for our committee of the whole meeting soon. And from there, we'll see where we go, but anticipate including the public in how this will go.
Are there any questions for our trustee? Okay, moving forward, sustainability and community services, Trustee Smith, please.
Sure. So thank you. As Mayor Ford mentioned, we had a sustainability meeting a couple of weeks ago. We have another one coming up. We'll be reviewing how to progress to perhaps hiring a consultant to help us understand how that sustainability plan works and gets implemented and then gets measured. So I think that's a positive step. And then in terms of just kind of the general community services, we've got, I think, 2 last yogas in the woods. So I think there's one tomorrow and one next week. And I think then that's over. As I think I mentioned at the last Board of Trustees meeting, the game day is over, but we're doing good stuff. And thank you very much to Randy for the garage sale and everything that goes along with that. So it's really been great. And I know there's a Halloween party upcoming and things like that. So we're doing a lot of good things.
Are there any questions for our trustee? Okay, communications, Trustee Trevino, please.
The first thing I'd like to update on is the resident survey, which we talked about a meeting or so ago. The background data has been all pulled. It's been analyzed and summarized, and we're moving into the next phase, which is getting the discussion guides created and the qualitative research conducted. In terms of communications, there was an initial deep dive meeting where we captured what's working, what do we need to improve. And one of the things we're looking at is utilizing some different marketing tools, like, for example, a marketing calendar, to provide some more structure and capture everything that's done, as well as look at some of the processes in place to see and capture what is done so that everybody knows, or if someone is sick, things can be done. But it is a step moving forward, and there'll be some additional meetings so we can continue down that path.
Are there any comments or questions for our trustee? Okay, seeing none. Board comments? Anybody have anything to add at this point or ask or? No, you could if you want. If you want. Yeah. Okay. I'll remember that. Okay, there's no reason to go into executive session. So the next date and time is August 19th at 7:30. It's a regular meeting. Do I have a motion for adjournment, please?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you for saying that about the mosquito stuff, because it's driving me crazy. It is important. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I don't think you're doing a good job, so
I know.